Hi guys, this is Shadow, and today I come to you with a tutorial on parenting. Now, what is parenting, you might ask? Well, parenting is basically having a parent object and a child object in a relationship where the parent object's events get transferred over to the children. Now, there can be one or more children, but there can only be one parent for each child or object. So, there are a few exceptions to this. The first is that if a child has an event, it will override the parent object's event. Now, this will be demonstrated with this object named child1 and this parent named object parent. As you can see, this parent has speed equals 2, direction equals 0. The sprite is a placeholder sprite we have created, and inside the draw event, there's nothing really, and that's not really needed, but I digress. Okay, so let's run the game to see it all runs fine and well. Okay, it all runs fine and well. As you can see, that's the parent, and these are the children, and they all have the same code implemented into them. Here's the room. See, parents. Here are the children. Now, what happens when we create a create event, which is also inside the parent, inside the child? I'm sorry, I cannot type. Let's have this speed as 2, unless, yeah. So let's have the speed as 1. And sprite index equals spur placeholder. Okay, so let's run the game again and see what happens. Okay, so as you can see, the first child, known as child 0, is slower than all the other children and the parent. That is because the child's create event overrides the parent's create event. The only difference between the child and the parent's create event is that in the parent, the speed is 2, and in the child, the speed is 1. Not really much of a difference, but, whatever. Another exception to this is that if you use event inherited. Now, this is a very helpful function that, when used on an event, on an object, where it has a parent, will technically give the child the parent's code. And what that means is that the code, all this, everything inside that event will be transferred to the child object exactly where it calls event inherited. If it calls event inherited here, that means the speed will still be equal to 2, because that is where the speed will last be called. So first it will be set here to 1, and then later in the event inherited it will be set to 2. Now if I do this the other way, I can effectively create the same thing I just did with less code and less typing. See? Slower. Okay, so that was the event inherited. Now what? Are there other functions? Well, yes, there are. There are 2 other useful functions with parenting. So there's object is ancestor. What this does is it takes the first argument, say object child 0, and then it takes the second argument, say object parent, and sees if the first argument is the child of the second argument. If so, return true. So that's that function. Now there's another one you can use. It was object object one second here. There we go, object get parent. And what this basically does is it takes the object that you specify in the first argument, say child1, and it returns the parent of that object. In this case, obj object parent. So those are some simple functions. Excuse me. Now you might be asking, well, how do you assign a parent? Well, in GameMaker, you assign a parent by simply opening up the window for that object, clicking on the drop-down box under the Parent tab, and clicking the parent, selecting the parent from that drop-down box that you want. You can have as many children as you like, again, but you can only have one parent. So I hope you enjoyed my tutorial, and I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you next time.